Have you ever heard the expression, ooh, she has let herself go? Hello, fellow empaths and sweet souls. It's Jennifer Knott, the food empath. Let's break down that toxic, very, very toxic collective conscious belief of letting ourselves go. First of all, you're still here, right? I mean, the reality that because you either gained a lot of weight during pregnancy, during college, because of a divorce, a death in the family, like that you've let yourself go, that is a very, very toxic societal construct. And I'm encouraging you to challenge that belief because it's very, very harmful to you and your mental health, especially as an empath and someone who is sensitive. I recognize how easy it is to buy into that belief, right? Because if we look at someone and we think, ooh, she has let herself go, or they have let themselves go, the judgment that we're feeling towards that person is nothing more than a reflection of the judgment that we feel towards ourselves. And the reality is that they didn't go anywhere. They're still on this planet, so they really didn't let themselves go. But it is very, very toxic to make that kind of judgmental comment about letting themselves go because no one knows what they have been going through. And I really wish we could just delete that from our conversation in terms of like a phrase. It does no one any good because the research does not show that shaming and, putting the guilt trip on people or judgment helps people change. It doesn't. The research does not support that. So then why are we shaming other people? What are you getting out of that? Because your judgment towards them is not going to make them change. Do you know what helps people change? Compassion, kindness, that's right. Positive attributes, gratitude, positive attributes. Those are the things that help people change. And the reality is that people have to change. You have to give them the autonomy to make that decision on their own. That is not something for society to force upon someone. Oh, you've let yourself go. You need to step it up and change for everybody else because you in a larger body is making us uncomfortable. Can you imagine that in the animal world? Can you imagine if that would fly in the animal world? Why do we think that's okay? It's so fascinating to me. And the amazing thing is that a lot of people don't understand is that mindfulness and presence and being aware of the thoughts and feelings and emotions that are going on in your body, especially for the empath, it's so important to be attuned to that because those thoughts and feelings and emotions can influence your decision of self-care, your decision on food, whether you're going to eat, what type of food you're going to eat, when you're going to eat, how much you're going to eat, the manner in which you're going to eat. And so having that expression of kindness and acceptance for people for where they are is a more supportive container that is going to help them change versus the judgment and the shame and the guilt. Doesn't work. Doesn't work. And for those of us who are recovering Catholics, I was raised Catholic, and honestly, I still have to work with the guilt and the judgment. Oof, that was a big one. Judgment came real easy for me. Oh my goodness. And I don't know if that was being Catholic or human or an empath or, just my upbringing. I'm not sure. But what I do know is that when I let go of being so judgmental of other people, I don't know that I necessarily focused on other people so much as I turned that conversation inward and said, I need to extend some grace and compassion and kindness to myself and gratitude to my body, because regardless of what my weight is, it is working so hard behind the scenes to keep me alive and healthy. And if you approach this from like a child who is, guilt-ridden, if they're, shamed and judged, they're not going to be a happy kid. You know what? They're going to find coping mechanisms. They're going to use food, drugs, alcohol, self-harm, gambling, shopping, sex addiction. That's what happens, right? Because for the empath, those emotions are too heavy. It's a lot to process. It's 100 to 1,000 times more intense than the average person feels. And that intensity in the body, to an unknown empath, they are going to resort to finding any kind of coping mechanism that they can. They don't care. I didn't care. I mean, you're just like, what is going to stop the pain? What is going to stop the insanity? What is going to stop everything that's going on in here? And by the way, what's going to stop that is finding mindful practices of presence. And I know meditation has a lot of ick vibes to it, because people have this impression that you're just going to be, the idea is that you're just sitting still and emptying out your mind. That's not what meditation is about. Meditation is about getting to know your mind, being quiet enough and still enough so that you can recognize what it is that you are thinking about, and then plucking it like a weed. Nope, this one isn't supportive. I like this one. Okay. Just paying attention, plucking the bad weeds, plucking the weeds in the brain that aren't supportive to your mental health. That's what meditation is. And so it's productive. It is the most essential thing, and the biggest thing that I ran away from, and most clients do too. But I encourage you, if you are an empath, please find some type of practice, whether it's a guided meditation, whether it's a silent whatever. I mean, it's just like food. We have thousands of types of foods. If you don't like bread, there's rice. If you don't like rice, there's bean. I mean, it's the same with meditation. You can find a type of meditation, a type of, exercise movement. You can find the type of human that you like. You can find a meditation that you like, but it is the most important thing to help with your mental health. And that, by recognizing your thoughts, that will help you reframe when you catch yourself thinking, oh, that person's let themselves go, or I've let myself go, right? Have you looked in the mirror and you're like, I've let myself go? No, darling, you are still here. It's okay. Whatever struggle you have been going through, give yourself permission to be where you're at. I mean, good Lord knows I have struggled with my share of interesting life situations thrown at me. And I'm grateful for them, because there's always some wisdom and learning lessons in each of them. And it really is about how you reframe the experience, because you can see it as the most devastating thing that has happened to you, or the most enlightening and, wise experience that you've ever had in your life. And it's a practice, folks, it's a practice, loves. It is a practice. And so please give yourself permission to go on that, to be on that path of presence on your mindfulness journey. It is not a destination, right? It is not a destination. It is something that you practice, and there will be days where you'll be like, wow, I've got this. And then there will be other days where you are slammed on your hiney and you are humbled, and you get back up and you get back on your practices and the things that make you feel good and the things that support your mental health and the foods that support your body and give you energy and don't make you feel out of balance. And if you do, then you extract the wisdom from the situation, because there's something to learn all the time with food. And please abstain from saying any more to anyone or yourself that you've really let yourself go. I'm hopeful that we delete that from the English language. See you next time, loves.